What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Apparently, there's a divorce lawyer on TikTok saying that men should always pay on the first date as a way to check to see if the other person is entitled. Again, this is a divorce lawyer, and apparently they're going viral on TikTok. So I just wanted to go ahead and see what it is that he was saying. I'm not necessarily on TikTok, but somebody sent me this video. So let me just play it and check it out, and then we're going to break it down.
Men should always pay on the first date. And get this, for our own good. You know, when us guys take an issue with paying the first date, the issue isn't tied to the number of dollars that we're spending at the end of the day. And if it is, respectfully, you need to go get a job. The issue is when we end up paying for someone who has this real sense of entitlement, like this expectation that we will pay. That's precisely why we need to always pay. Because look, your date, whoever that is, may very well be the person you end up marrying. And trust me when I say, as a divorce lawyer, who you end up marrying is so important. So let's say at the end of the date, you pull out your wallet to offer to pay, and your date just sits there expecting you to pay as if that is the obvious course of action. In that moment, what did you just learn? You just learned that the person in front of you is entitled and frankly has the audacity to expect a near stranger to pay for them. And just imagine how someone like that will treat their significant other, their spouse, for a low price of $20, $30, $40 or whatever. You learned that the person in front of you does not have the basic courtesy to pretend to offer to pay, and that therefore you should never go on another date with them. And
All right, so the problem with this argument right here is that he was right on one thing, but he was wrong on a lot of different things. We taken into consideration the fact that he's a divorce lawyer in order to substantiate what it is that he's saying. But in a lot of the things that he's saying, he's absolutely wrong. First, the problem is that he's saying that a person pretending to pay, right, to find out whether or not they're entitled. The only thing that I mainly agree with him on is the idea that, yo, if you can't afford to spend whatever at dinner, then you probably shouldn't be dating in the first place. Outside of that, I think that he was kind of off. And again, I don't necessarily take into consideration the fact that he's a divorce lawyer, because a divorce lawyer often at times are approaching things after the fact. It doesn't necessarily mean that they can get you to the starting line. So let me tell you where he's off. First and foremost, if a person is pretending like they're going to attempt to pay for the bill, the problem is that in today's society, and trust me, I know I've coached a lot of people, and in today's society, the idea behind going Dutch is not something to take lightly. You might attempt to pay and then actually have to pay half, which that's not necessarily a problem. But for a person like me that's been successfully married for an extended period of time, I would never allow my chick to ever touch the bill, or for that matter, anybody that's sitting at the table with me, because I usually am the one that take care of things. Now, I understand that I am in a little bit of a privileged position, and I always have been in a little bit of a privileged position as far as always being driven, always making money. And so I've never wanted money to be the barrier to entry as to whether or not somebody is going to have fun when we go out. When people go out with me, I want them to spend all of their time having fun, not thinking about whether or not they're going to be able to have fun because they can't afford to be there, right? Secondly, I thought that the standard, and maybe I'm just too traditional and I'm too old school, but I thought that the standard was you don't let a woman touch anything. Now, I am aware of what the times are, but at the same time, I'm also aware that, or I truly believe that men and women are the same as they always have been. The only thing that's changed is the environment and the circumstances. So you've changed the environment, and now women have to operate in this space to where they got to compete with men, partially because they advocated for femininity, which is their own undoing. Whole nother conversation. But the point that I'm making is that when you put a woman in a space to where she can truly be herself, she will always fall back into that feminine state, that feminine nature, her femininity. And it just takes a certain environment. It takes a certain type of guy. It takes a certain sentiment in a way in which you move that's going to put her in that space. So first and foremost, if we're taking dating advice, I don't believe in dating. I believe in building up your network, and then your best friend ultimately, or the person that you closely align with, ultimately be the one that you marry. It has to be more than just dating. It has to be more than love. It has to be more than vetting on this basic surface level. It has to be much deeper than that. So I'm assuming that this divorce lawyer is married. I don't know a lot about him, but all I'm saying is that it takes more to be able to substantiate whatever it is that we think is going on as far as trying to vet somebody on a date. Their mindset about whether or not they're willing to take the bill is not going to be the determining factor of whether or not they feel entitled for the entire time that y'all talking or y'all get married or anything like that. The point is that I need you to do what you're gonna do as a woman, and I believe in gender roles. I'm gonna do what I do as a man, and I'm not expecting you to bring resources, but at the same time, you shouldn't be expecting to be me to bring the things that you're supposed to bring into the relationship and household as a woman, such as that feminine nature and so on and so forth. So I don't necessarily agree with what it is that he's saying, but I understand why people feel the way that they feel today, because it is normal to go Dutch now. It is normal for guys to expect a woman to pay for the date if she invites him out. That's normal. For me, in the spaces that I am, for my nephews, and the spaces that they are, and they're 20 and all of that other type of stuff, that don't fly. I don't care how old you are, from the top all the way to the bottom, from the oldest of us all the way to the youngest of us. Maybe that's just the way that we move in our household, but I am not familiar with this level of um focusing on these small details in order to determine whether or not the person is. Yo, when you're on a date, let's just be clear. Let's just break this down all the way. When you're on a date, I'm not sure that y'all are even truly trying to figure out whether or not that's your person in the first place. You have to go through so many layers of trying to figure out who this person is and all of this other type of stuff. And you telling me that you're more focused on whether or not they're going to offer to split or pay for the bill? That's crazy to me. That is absolutely insane to me, which is one of the reasons I don't believe in dating in the first place. You got to build your network, the people that you can see, that you can operate around, and you see their flaws, you see their issues, you see how they respond to certain obstacles that come in their way. You see how it is that they interact with their parents. You know whether or not they're good with their money. You know whether or not they truly appreciate you and they with you for the right reasons, because you've spent an extraordinary amount of time with them without it ever being sex involved, or all of these type of things are a lot of the other factors that you need to take into consideration, not whether or not somebody is reaching for the check on a date. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description. We're doing some awesome things in there. We are doing a Patreon exclusive meetup in Las Vegas next, if you're watching this video before May 14th, 2022. And we're also building businesses. We got a lot going on. So thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to rock with me. Hopefully you don't take everybody's advice just because they qualify themselves as a divorce lawyer. I'd rather take my advice from somebody that's successfully married like myself. But do what you want to do. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.